The Galactic Council chamber floated in the void between stars, a monument to diplomatic achievement that had taken 17 species 3 centuries to build. Bella Chen stood at the human delegation's podium, her fingers drumming against the crystalline surface as Ambassador Vexther's voice echoed through the translation matrix. "The humans," the Corthian ambassador hissed, his triple-jointed arms gesturing dismissively, "contribute nothing but demands and consumption. They arrive at our doorstep barely a century ago, primitives who had just learned to split atoms, and now they want seats on the security directorate." Laughter rippled through the assembly. 17 species, hundreds of delegates, and not one rose to humanity's defense. Bella's jaw tightened. She glanced at Leo Martinez, Earth's military attaché, who sat rigid in his chair, his dark eyes fixed on the holographic display showing the vote tally. Treaty Amendment 4477 was failing spectacularly. 847 votes against humanity's petition, 3 in favor. "Perhaps," Ambassador Quellen of the Ascendancy added, her melodious voice dripping with condescension, "humanity should focus on mastering basic resource management before aspiring to leadership. Your species has depleted 3 colony worlds in just 50 years." More laughter. The Draken delegation's chittering rose above the rest. Leo leaned toward Bella, his voice barely a whisper. "The numbers just came through. They've increased tariffs on our medical imports by 340%. The outer colonies won't survive the winter." Bella's eyes narrowed. For 70 years, humanity had played by the Council's rules. They had signed the Treaty of Limitations, agreeing to restrict their military to defensive forces only. They had accepted the Technology Sharing Accord, giving their innovations freely while paying exorbitant fees for alien tech. They had welcomed Council inspectors into every facility, every laboratory, every ship. And for 70 years, they had been treated like children at the adults' table. "The Council recognizes Ambassador Chen," the moderator's mechanical voice announced. Bella rose slowly. The chamber fell silent, not out of respect but curiosity. Humans rarely spoke during these humiliations. "I have heard the Council's position clearly," Bella began, her voice steady. "Humanity is too young, too reckless, too consuming to be trusted with real authority. We are, in your eyes, a species that must be managed, controlled, and limited." Vexther's mandibles clicked in what might have been approval. "I also note," Bella continued, "that this council has voted to increase economic sanctions on human colonies while simultaneously denying our petition for emergency aid access. You will watch our people starve, but you won't allow us the dignity of self-sufficiency." "Ambassador Chen," Quellen interrupted, "your colony's failures are not the Council's responsibility. Poor planning resulted from your resource quotas." Bella cut her off, her voice sharpening. "Quotas that no other species operates under. Quotas specifically designed to ensure we remain dependent on Council generosity. Generosity that, as we've seen today, can be withdrawn at your whim." Murmurs spread through the chamber. This was unusually direct for the typically diplomatic human delegation. Leo stood, moving to Bella's side. His hand moved to his tablet, fingers dancing across the interface. 70 years ago, Bella said, her voice rising, "my species came to this council seeking partnership. We believed in a community of civilizations working together for mutual prosperity. We were naive." "Ambassador, you overstep," the moderator began. "I overstep nothing," Bella snapped. "I am simply concluding humanity's participation in this farce. Effective immediately, the United Terran government hereby terminates the Treaty of Limitations, the Technology Sharing Accord, the Resource Management Compact, and all 17 subsidiary agreements binding Earth to Council authority." The chamber erupted. Delegates jumped to their feet, voices overlapping in a dozen languages. The translation matrix struggled to keep pace with the chaos. "You cannot," Vexther sputtered. "We can, and we have," Leo said calmly. He projected a holographic document into the center of the chamber. Article 34 of the Founding Charter. Any member species may withdraw from Council treaties with formal declaration. You're witnessing that declaration. This is madness, Quellen shouted. You'll be isolated. No trade, no technology transfers, no protection. Bella smiled, and there was something predatory in it that made several delegates step back. No protection, she repeated. From whom exactly? We've had no protection for 70 years. The Draken raided our supply lines with impunity. The Corthian cartels enslaved human colonists, and the Council did nothing because we weren't important enough to defend. As for technology, Leo added, we've been giving you ours for free while paying billions for yours. That equation is about to reverse. Vexther's skin flushed deep purple. You have nothing we need. Don't we? Bella's eyes glittered. Quantum entanglement communication, human invention, plasma recycling systems that every station in Council space uses, human design, the medical nanites that extended ascendancy lifespans by 2 centuries, developed in human labs and handed over for free under the technology sharing accord. She paused, letting that sink in. An accord that no longer exists. The silence that followed was absolute. Furthermore, Leo continued, pulling up another display, all Council vessels currently in human space have 6 hours to depart. All Council personnel have 12 hours to evacuate. Earth's defensive perimeter is expanding to include all claimed systems. Any vessel entering without authorization will be treated as hostile. You're declaring war, Ambassador Dren of the Hive Collective asked, its compound eyes reflecting shock. Not at all, Bella replied. We're declaring independence. There's a difference. One you might remember. We have extensive historical experience with throwing off governments that tax without representation. Leo's tablet chimed. He glanced at it, then nodded to Bella. Our withdrawal is now registered with Council records, he announced. The treaty terminations are legally binding under your own charter. We're done here. Bella gathered her materials. Humanity came to the stars hopping for friends. We found masters instead. So we'll do what humans do best. We'll survive on our own terms. As they walked toward the exit, Quellen's voice rang out. You'll fail. You'll come crawling back within a decade, begging for readmission. Bella paused at the threshold, looking back at the assembled delegates. Perhaps, she said softly, or perhaps when you need humanity's innovations, our resources, our tenacity, and you'll remember this day. You'll remember that you had partners who offered their hands in friendship, and you chose mockery instead. She smiled one last time. Good luck managing your own affairs. You're going to need it. The doors sealed behind them with a hiss of equalizing pressure. In the chamber, chaos reigned as delegates scrambled to understand the implications. Their economic models hadn't accounted for losing human innovation. Their trade networks hadn't prepared for the absence of Earth's raw material exports. Their military strategists hadn't considered what a species unrestricted by treaty limitations might become. Aboard the shuttle carrying them away from the Council station, Leo looked at Bella. That was quite a gamble. Bella stared out at the stars, at the vast darkness punctuated by distant lights, each one a sun, perhaps with worlds, perhaps with civilizations learning the same hard lesson humanity had just taught the Council. No, she said quietly. It was the only move we had left. They taunted us, thinking we had no choice but to endure. They forgot that humans have always been at our best when our backs are against the wall. The shuttle's engines flared, carrying them toward Earth, toward uncertainty, toward a future written by human hands alone. Behind them, the Galactic Council faced the dawn of a new era, one where humanity would chart its own course among the stars. And they would do it on their own terms, or not at all.